right, so ready to dive into something a little different today. We're putting aside the complex narratives and intricate strategies for a bit and stepping into the world of Wii Sports. You sent over the Wikipedia article, and I have to admit, I was a little skeptical at first. I mean,
Yeah.
how deep can you really go with a game about virtual bowling and tennis, right?
Well, you'd be surprised. This isn't just a nostalgia trip. Wii Sports was a cultural phenomenon, and to understand why we need to look beyond the surface level fun and into the genius of its design and marketing.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Where do we even begin?
Well, with Nintendo's goal, they weren't trying to compete with the hardcore gaming market with this one. They wanted to reach a whole new audience, people who may have never even picked up a controller before.
So like my grandma.
Exactly. They were going for universal appeal, and what's more universal than sports?
True. I mean, everyone knows how to swing a tennis racket, or at least try to. But there were already tons of sports games out there. What made Wii Sports different?
It's all about accessibility. See, other games focused on realism, complex controls, button combinations you had to memorize. Wii Sports stripped all that away. You didn't need to be a gamer to understand it. You just had to know how to move your body.
And move you did.
Yeah.
And I remember swinging that Wii remote like my life depended on it.
Exactly. And that's where the motion controls come in. That was revolutionary. It wasn't just about pressing buttons anymore. It was about actually feeling like you were playing the sport.
Speaking of feeling like you were playing, did you read that thing about them almost using Super Mario characters instead of Mii's?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine serving up a tennis ball with Luigi? Or tossing a red shell down the bowling lane?
Talk about a game changer. I mean, it's kind of hilarious to think about. But honestly, I think sticking with Mii's was the right call. Seeing your personalized avatar up there nailing those strikes just added a whole other level of satisfaction.
It's that personal touch that really set Wii Sports apart. It wasn't just a game, it was your game, your experience with your friends and family. It's so true. It's funny how something so simple could be so revolutionary. But those motion controls were a stroke of genius. I mean, it felt so intuitive, so natural, like you were really interacting with the game world. What was it like for you the first time you tried it out? Did you have that aha moment?
Oh, absolutely. It was like, this is it. This is the future of gaming. It just felt so right.
Yeah.
And a little bit ridiculous trying to pitch a perfect curveball in my living room, but in the best way possible.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, as simple as those controls were, there was a surprising amount of depth to the gameplay.
Right. Like it wasn't just flailing around. You could put actual spin on the tennis ball, aim for specific pins in bowling.
Exactly. It tricked you into thinking it was just this casual pick-up-and-play experience. But then you get those little nuances, those techniques down, and suddenly you're hooked, trying to master every sport.
Totally. I remember spending hours trying to perfect my bowling swing, unlocking new levels, beating my own high scores.
Oh, and who could forget about the fitness test? That was
Yeah.
always a fun one. Oh, man, the fitness test.
Yeah.
Talk about a brilliant move by Nintendo. Suddenly, everyone's comparing Wii Fit age scores at family gatherings. It became
Yeah.
like a weird badge of honor.
Right. Like who knew virtual bowling could be so motivating? But that speaks to the bigger impact of Wii Sports. It wasn't just a game, it was a social experience. It brought people together in a way that no other game really had before.
Absolutely. Families playing together, grandparents bowling strikes. It was like this weird, heartwarming phenomenon.
And it went beyond just casual play, too. Remember reading about how it was used in physical therapy, senior centers?
Yeah, that always blew my mind. It's like, who would have thought that a video game console could end up being used to help people with rehabilitation or even weight loss?
It really speaks volumes about the power of intuitive design and, well, just plain fun.
For sure.
Yeah.
But of course, it wasn't all sunshine and roses. We got to talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say the Wii remote and the TV screen.
Oh, yeah, the infamous Wii Remote incidents.
It became like a badge of honor, proof that you were really getting into the game. Although I'm sure Nintendo probably wasn't too thrilled about all those broken TVs.
Yeah, I bet. But those mishaps actually highlight something really interesting about Wii Sports. It was so immersive, so engaging, that it sometimes blurred the line between the game world and reality.
That's a good point. It's like our brains were having trouble separating the virtual tennis racket from the very real one in our hands.
Exactly. And that brings us back to those revolutionary motion controls.
Which brings us back to the lasting impact that Wii Sports had on the gaming industry as a whole.
Right. Before Wii Sports, motion controls were seen as kind of a gimmick, a novelty. But Nintendo showed the world that motion controls could be intuitive, immersive, and most importantly, fun.
They weren't afraid to take a risk, to try something new. And it paid off big time.
I mean, look at the gaming landscape today. From motion sensors and controllers to VR headsets, you can see the influence of Wii Sports everywhere.
It's like they opened up a whole new dimension of possibilities, not just for gaming, but for how we interact with technology in general. It really makes you wonder, what's next? What's that next big innovation that's going to come along and change everything?
Well, if history has taught us anything, it's that it's probably going to be something we least expect.
That's the exciting part, though, right? The not knowing.
Exactly. And I think that's something Wii Sports really captures, that sense of wonder, of possibility. That's what happens when you push boundaries and try new things.
It wasn't just a game. It was a cultural moment. And it's a good reminder that sometimes the simplest ideas can have the biggest impact.
Absolutely. Who would have thought that virtual bowling and tennis could bring people together in such a profound way?
It's a good lesson for all of us, whether we're gamers, tech developers, or just people trying to navigate this crazy world. Sometimes you just got to let loose, have some fun, and see where the journey takes you.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of Wii Sports. It might not have been the most complex game out there, but as we've seen, its legacy is anything but simple.
That's the beauty of these deep dives. You never know what you're going to uncover until you start digging.
Well said. Until next time, keep exploring, keep playing, and who knows, maybe you'll stumble upon that next big thing that changes the world.